Tick, tick, tick. Tick, tick, tick. Tick, tick, tick. In the words of the late David Carroll, before I get into the meat of this video, I've got to put some things out in front of you. This is the makings of a classic. Brothers, this video this evening, my conversation with you is intended to stretch our imaginations about where we are right now in 2022. It is Wednesday, 11:02 p.m., October the 26th, 2022. And brothers, I want to build on some things I've said already in my last video. And if you haven't seen the last video, guys, I need you all to go ahead and check it out. The video called The Devil That We Know, Black Men and the Republican Party. I need to say once again, I produced that video not with the intent of recruiting black men for the Republican Party. I produced that video not as a Republican. I am an independent. I vote independently. But I produced that video, my brothers, because the Republican Party is one of the options that we have. And it is clear, and it should be clear, it's clear to me at least, and it should be clear to you, in this thing that we call the Black Manosphere, that the Democratic Party is not a party that empowers us. It is not a party that is fundamentally concerned about our lives. Y'all see the thumbnail? You guys see the thumbnail? And let me just say this once again, as I did in my last video, my guys, I'm taking my time with this. I'm not going to be here all night long. My last video was almost 3 hours in length. I'm not going to stay here for 3 hours. I want to get to the meat of this video, which deals, y'all see the topic, it deals with the man who can't be bought. The man who can't be bought. And you guys are smart right now. You all know what's going on at this particular time with one of the most famous people on planet Earth, a man who often compares himself to Michael Jackson. He sees himself as the heir of Michael Jackson and the throne that Michael Jackson had. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Dewan Hollis, I see you, my brother. Good to see you, my guy. Dewan Holds and Billy Lazar, I see you, my guy. I see you, guy. I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you. We're going to talk tonight. There's this thing, guys. There's this thing. It's this idea. This idea that many of you guys are familiar with. And it's an idea that comes out of the world of war and warfare, militarism. And the idea is called scorched earth. Scorched earth. And there is this thing, it's a strategy, it's a strategy, it's a scorched earth strategy. And in warfare, what scorched earth means is that what you do is that you look at your opponent, you analyze your opponent, you assess the strengths and the weaknesses of your opponent. You think about your larger goal, your larger aim at war in terms of winning. And what you do in your campaign, in warfare, to be optimal, to be successful, so on and so forth. What you do is you zero in on your opponent's weaknesses. That is, you focus on those areas within your opponent's arsenals that make your opponent vulnerable, which makes your opponent weak. And you do everything within your power to neutralize your opponent at that level. And what we have witnessed, my guys, what we have witnessed with this person who, I'm not going to call this name because y'all know who he is. This person has engaged in a scorched earth campaign. It's a scorched earth campaign. And one of the things that happens in the scorched earth campaign, if you are very good at the scorched earth campaign, is that you force your opponent to expose all of their techniques, all of their weapons, all of the strategies that are employed to take you down. And what you also do in a scorched earth campaign is you also expose the weaknesses in those who have presented themselves to you as your ally, your ally, those who say that they support you in the art of war. And what we have seen in the last week or so, we have seen how the scorched earth campaign works. The opponent has been forced to expose itself in all of its techniques of domination. And simultaneously, while that has happened, your so-called allies also expose themselves, and they expose the extent to which they will go in remaining your allies. I see you guys. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. And what we're witnessing is the art of warfare right now. It's the art of war, the art of war. But what I want to talk about tonight has to do with the extent to which one is committed rather, in engaging in warfare in general and in this type of warfare, a scorched earth campaign. When someone embarks on a scorched earth campaign, they have done so having taken into account all of the risks, all of the dangers, all of the perils that are involved in warfare. And when one engages in a scorched earth campaign in the art of war, one has already reached a place, reached a zone where such a campaign is the only option. Not only has it reached this place where such a campaign is the only option, but the campaign itself is tied to a goal or to aims which are bigger than the person who is engaging in the art of war. Now, I know I'm talking in abstractions. I know I'm talking philosophically, but I got to do this in order to set the table. I want to share with you all a quote. If you look at the thumbnail, guys, if you look at the thumbnail, I want to share with you a quote. And it comes from a film that all of you all have seen. I want to share this quote with you, or this dialogue from The Dark Knight. And if you have not studied The Dark Knight closely, brothers, I suggest that you study The Dark Knight closely. And this comes from a scene in The Dark Knight where you have this very interesting exchange between Bruce Wayne and Alfred Pennyworth. And Bruce Wayne and Alfred Pennyworth are both talking about their opponent. They're talking about a force. They're talking about an agent. They're talking about someone engaged in the act of warfare. And they go into the logic and they go into the rationale. They go into the psychology of this person who's engaged in war. And here is Bruce Wayne, my brothers. Here is Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne says to Alfred, he says, criminals aren't complicated, Alfred. You just have to figure out what he's after. And Alfred responds to Bruce Wayne in kind. With respect, Master Wayne, perhaps this is a man that you don't fully understand either. A long time ago, I was in Burma. My friends and I were working for the local government. They were trying to buy the loyalty of tribal leaders by bribing them with precious stones. But their caravans were being raided in a forest north of the Rangoon by a bandit. So we went looking for the stones. But in 6 months, we never met anybody who traded with him. One day I saw a child playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine. The bandit had been throwing them away. Bruce Wayne responds, "So why steal them?" Alfred Pennyworth responds, "Well, because he thought it was good sport. Because some men aren't looking for anything logical like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn." Y'all go back and check out the Dark Knight and you look at that dialogue. There is a philosophy, there is an ideology that's involved in achieving particular goals, especially when those goals involve the art of war. Let me just get straight to the point, brothers. There are wars that are fought for all sorts of reasons. There are wars that are fought for the pursuit of land, for the pursuit of resources. There are wars that are fought on the basis of power alone. But there are also wars that are fought in behalf of higher goals, of higher principles. There are wars that are fought in service of non monetary values. And I want to ask you guys, what are you fighting for? And why are you fighting for it? And I want to ask you guys, if you are fighting a war that is connected to something that is bigger than money, how far are you willing to go in fighting this war? How far? I talked about this in my last stream. I raised the question to you guys. I didn't create the question, but I'm going to raise it to you again. Somebody asked you this question. What? No, I'm put it like this. Let me delete that, scratch that. I'm going to ask you this question. This is my question. What are you willing to lose? What are you willing to lose? What are your non-negotiables? Do you have an uncompromising stance? A stance that will prevent you from being neutralized? Right now, my guys, right now, we are seeing the responses of Black Americans. We are seeing the responses to this person, this celebrity, this figure. I'm not going to call his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. They are distancing themselves from him. They are throwing him under the bus. In fact, they are defaming his name. And many of the people come from the same world that he is a part of, the world of celebrity. I was listening to Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club, doing commentary on him. And you can go here on YouTube and pull up what Charlamagne has said about him. And Charlamagne is making it clear to the powers that be that he is distant from this individual. Or he wants the powers that be to know that he is distant from this individual, that he has no connections or ties to this person. Charlamagne the God is a Black man, unfortunately, who's been bought. He's been bought. Bought and paid for. Charlamagne, what are your principles? Charlamagne, what do you stand on? Charlamagne, what are you all about? At very, very convenient times, he talks the talk. But we hardly see this person take the risk that backs up the talk. Brothers, there are men in this world and women, and you all know this, who can't be compromised. They can't be compromised. There are men in this world and women who are bought and paid for. And we are living in real time right now where we're seeing in real time who's been bought, who's been paid. And unfortunately, my guys, or shall I say tragically, thank you, Dr. Thunder, good to see you, Tragically, I'm taking my time tonight. This is a bit of a stream of consciousness. Tragically, we have people who have been bought, they have been paid for at a discount price, And what do I mean by that? That is that these people have sold themselves, given their souls to the market without any type of assessment or calculation of their value. They've sold themselves on the market at a low price. And they've given over a level of loyalty deep loyalty, or perceived or imagined loyalty, that has non-monetary value. But they've sold it at a low discount rate. In other words, you got folks who have sold themselves out for $2 and $3 and $4 for some semblance of security. At the expense of their own value in the market, which if we're honest, brothers, has no price on it. Black people sell themselves out every single day for crumbs, for pennies. Just to have a roof over their heads, just to drive a certain type of car, just to be in close proximity to a certain group of people. And the people who they sell themselves to know that they're getting a discount. It's cheap. But you have a man like this artist who I'm talking about, who played the capitalist game with these people. He played this capitalist game. He was able to amass a fortune. He was able to achieve billionaire status. And this man, at a certain point of his life, decided to break relationships with the people whom he was involved in this game. There are a lot of black people right now who are being shamed by this brother. And the reason why they're being shamed is because he has done something in real time before all of us, which says to the world that there is no price tag, there is no monetary value that you can place on my freedom as a man, as a black man in America. There's no monetary value. That is, I'm willing to lose billionaire status. I'm willing to lose hundreds of millions of dollars in an effort to be a free human being, a free black man. In other words, I can't be bought. I can't be bought. I can't be bought. And I can't be bought because I'm after something that is bigger than me. I can't be bought because I have counted the cost, because I have assessed the terrain. I see that the game that I've been playing is not fair. And I see that it's not equitable. And I see that this game demands that I make certain compromises and negotiations that go against my core values, my core principles. Brothers, I want to compel you guys to do some real soul searching if you haven't already engaged in any deep self-interrogation. We talk a lot here in this space, this black male space, this black manosphere. And we see a lot of things. And there's a lot of big talk that happens, a lot of big talk. But there is a litmus test to the big talk. There is a litmus test to the big talk. How far will you go in asserting your agency? How far will you go in pursuing freedom and independence as a black man in the United States? And are you willing to reject? Are you willing to dismiss any and all efforts that seek to compromise, that seek to nullify, that seek to censor, that seek to cancel the deepest core values that you have in terms of being a gentle black man in this country, in terms of being free? There are some values, my guys, that are non-monetary. There are beliefs that defy the market. The United States had to leave Afghanistan last year, a year ago. It had to leave Afghanistan. The United States military had to leave Afghanistan over a year ago. After the Taliban took over the capital of Afghanistan, Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. The Taliban drove the United States out of Afghanistan after 20 years of resistance and occupation. The largest, the most powerful military that we have known had to retreat. And they went up against forces that had less resources, less technology, but had more commitment, drive, and wherewithal. The United States tried to buy that entire region with liberal Western democracy, and the Taliban said, no, we don't want it. You can call us primitive, you can call us savage, you can call us uncivilized, all that kind of stuff. We don't want you and your Western culture. It was cabal. Thank you, Charles Faulkner. I kept forgetting the the capital. I kept forgetting the capital. It was cabal. You cannot buy, the United States cannot buy the Muslim world. Cannot buy it. You can't buy their loyalty. You can't buy their commitment. You can't buy it. I've said this in other videos. I don't support extremism in any fashion or capacity. I don't respect or support terrorist violence. But what I do respect is commitment. What I do respect are countries and societies not just in the so-called Islamic world, but outside of the Western world, who refuse to be corrupted, to be compromised by the decadence that exists within American culture. There are people on this planet who cannot be bought. There are men on this planet who cannot be bought. You don't have enough money. You can't put enough money in front of them to make them compromise and bend their knee, to turn their wheel towards you, to bow down. They exist in the world. And these type of men are willing to go the distance. These type of men are willing, if necessary, to be subject to death because of their own convictions. They are willing to deal with a social death. That is that you can have financial institutions boycott and black them out. They can become pariahs in the minds of the public. They can be sent to jails and prisons, set up in all kinds of ways. And they can face literal death. They can be literally killed, assassinated, destroyed, shot down. And what I want you guys to consider, I want you guys to think about, is where you stand in all this. We are in an unprecedented moment, guys. We are in a moment, guys, where people are reassessing. I said this in the last video. There was a reassessment. There was an analysis that is going on in terms of relationships, old ties. We are reassessing relationships. And in this reassessment, many are concluding that these relationships need to die. That the type of relationships that you've had up to this point, they may have existed for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. These relationships, they need to come to an end. And that there is no need to continue in these relationships. Because the relationships are no longer beneficial. Y'all know here we deal with politics. We deal with black men in politics. Black Americans have been committed to a political orientation that has fundamentally failed them. They've been committed to a set of political relationships that don't benefit them, particularly black men. And the only reason why some of us or many of us hold on to this relationship is because we get $2 out of the relationship, or we get $3 out of the relationship. The relationship gives us low pay. This relationship does not build us wealth. It doesn't make us rich. It can make us rich. But we are satisfied with crumbs. We are satisfied with virtually nothing, with the perception of security. And many of us black folks have basically been bought off. We've been bought off. This liberal female who we've been dealing with, who we talk about all the time, this liberal female is bought and paid for. She is bought and paid for. The bed wenches. The bed wenches. All the bed wenches are bought and paid for. And they've been bought off at a low price. Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams is bought and paid for. Stacey Abrams has a price. Someone has already paid that price. I told y'all over a year ago that these liberal women, in particular, and black women in general, they don't belong to you. The welfare state bought these women off. The welfare, food stamps, Section 8, social services, the entire welfare state has bought off a huge sector of the black female population. Thank you, Life of Commerce. Thank you for that support. Bought off. The professional black female, black woman who works in corporate America, liberal in her politics, she been bought off. She been bought off. Affirmative action bought her off. That's what she been bought. Bought off. Through affirmative action. Bought off. Bought. So you know who she gonna vote for. Most of you guys who have children who have to deal with them family courts and you have to deal with child support, you know that your baby mama or the woman who had you who you had a child with, who had children with, those women, they've been bought off. They've been bought off by the family court system. You look at MSNBC, and you see Tiffany Cross, you see Joy Reid, you see all these women pushing the Democratic Party and all their candidates pushing failure. Those women have been bought off. And our relationship with these people don't benefit us in any type of way. But the point of this stream, guys, the point of this stream is this. We have to think about the kind of masculinity that we are advocating for, the kind of masculinity that we stand behind, the kind of masculinity that we value. And we have to think about all of the seductions and all the temptations that will come our way that will demand that we compromise who we are. And we have to understand that in history and in culture, you have always had classes of men who never bowed down to those forces that demanded that they compromise who they are as men. And they did not compromise who they were and are as men because they were committed to something that was bigger than themselves. Malcolm X, and people don't like talking about Malcolm X. Malcolm X was a man, and he wasn't the only one, a black man who was very much committed to values that were non-monetary in nature. In other words, they were not just simply economic. They were not. You can't put a price tag on what he was committed to. Freedom and liberation. You can't put a price tag, brothers, on freedom. I will come out and say to you guys that yeah, there are levels of freedom that are very costly. There are levels of freedom that are costly. But there is a realm of freedom when it comes down to men. There is a realm of freedom when it comes down to men that does not have a price tag. Thank you, Charles Faulkner. This is a stream of consciousness. I'm giving y'all, this is a stream of consciousness right here. The uncompromising man. The man who says, I'm not going to be anybody's slave. How about that? I'm not going to be anybody's slave. And I will deal with whatever consequences that come my way in my efforts to not be somebody's slave. And I'm not going to maintain generations of slave relationships. this manosphere, this black manosphere, was produced in large part because we were disenchanted with slave relationships. And we are here now in 2022 with this disenchantment with slave relationships. I touched upon briefly in my last video Dr. T.S. Johnson's Black Male Political Agenda, the BMPA. A 15-point plan or itemized document that deals with basically a servile relationship that black men have with the United States. It is a document that deals with many of the constraints that deal with that are imposed upon too many black men. And if you are not content with those restraints, if you are frustrated with those constraints, if those constraints do something to you in a visceral way, you are only compelled to do everything within your power to break the chains that have been placed on the lives of black men. Those relationships, those economic relationships, those familiar relationships, political relationships, all sorts of relationships. There are many forces that exist right now that seek to keep you in those relationships. And the sad thing is there are entities in place that will pay you a low price just to keep you in those relationships. We are uncompromising here. What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go in order to be a free black man in this world? What are you willing to risk? What are you willing to lose? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? How much alienation are you willing to endure? How much ostracization are you willing to face? Are you willing to become a pariah? Are you willing to be hated? Are you willing to be targeted? Are you willing to be defamed? Are you willing to have your entire existence threatened? All in the service of being a free black man in this world? This is the question. Can you stand in front of mountains and mountains and mountains and mountains of money? Money that is intended to buy you off, to buy your silence. And that's what's out there. There are rewards for your silence. There are rewards for your complicity, guys. Rewards. There are rewards for you to keep the status quo alive. Rewards. Roland Martin has been bought off. Roland Martin, y'all know who Roland Martin is. Roland Martin has been bought off. Y'all look at Roland Martin's channel. We know who his master is. We know who Roland Martin's master is. You listen to Roland Martin talk. We know who his master is. The black senators have been bought off. You got Raphael Warnock. He's been bought off. Out in Georgia, running against Herschel Walker, he's been bought off. Cory Booker, the senator out of New Jersey, he's been bought off. Bakari Sellers out of South Carolina, he's been bought off. Don Lemon at CNN, he's been bought off. There's a whole long list of black men who've been bought off. In my profession, there's a whole bunch of black men that I know that have been bought off. In light of this situation, with the billionaire that we've been talking about, entertainment, it's clear to me that most black celebrities have been bought off. They've been bought off. And we need to talk about the man who can't be bought. Now they're demonizing Killer Mike. They're demonizing Killer Mike right now in that liberal world. Killer Mike ain't been bought off. He been playing in that world, but he ain't been bought off. He's moving in a certain kind of way. He ain't been bought off. And we watching to see what happens in Georgia. And I'm gonna see how he moves after the election. I'm gonna see how he moves after the election. He's exuding the spirit of black men's independence. And I'm hoping that he continues in that vein. And if he continues in that vein, exuding the spirit of black men's independence, it will be clear to me and to all of us that Killer Mike ain't been bought off. This is a stream of consciousness, brother. This is a stream of consciousness right here. Stream of consciousness. I was listening to Keep It 100. Keep It 100 did a stream last night on principles. Keep It 100 did a stream last night. Y'all go check out Keep It 100's channel. Keep It 100, Keep It 100, 100 did a stream called Principles. It's the principle of the doggone thing. There are principalities. You remember that? Remember Big Worm and remember Big Worm? Big Worm had that exchange with Smokey over money and stuff like that. And Big Worm told him, he said, it's the principality of the doggone thing. There are men who will lose money. There are men who will lose thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are men who will lose millions of dollars for the sake of a principle. There are men who will lose jobs for the sake of a principle. There are men who will lose families and family relations for the sake of a principle. Walk away from your family. You walk away from your tired, ratchet. They ain't got to be ratchet, but you can walk away from a compromised family. You can turn on your cousins, turn on your aunts and your uncles. Hell, you could turn on your mother and your father for the sake of principle. You can't be bought. There are forces in this world that seek to buy your loyalty, to seek to buy your silence, to seek to buy your complicity. There's some things you can't put a price tag on, brothers. Now, I'm a capitalist. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'm a capitalist. I'm not anti-money. I'm not anti-capital. I'm not anti-money. I am not anti-capital. We need capital. We need money. I'm gonna talk about capitalism and black men real soon. But in terms of being free, in terms of what it takes to be free, in terms of our integrity, there's no monetary value on that. There's no monetary value on that. You got a man out here. He has basically ruined all of his business relationships. He went scorched earth. This man, the super celebrity, this man went scorched earth. And it was deliberate. It was deliberate. He went scorched earth. And he's embarked on a scorched earth campaign for the sake of a principle. This is an imperfect human being. The way he talks is imperfect. His ideology or the ideologies that exist in his head those ideologies are imperfect. But the bigger picture is a principle that one is committed to. Thank you, Absolute. Amazing. Some things are worth fighting for, some things are worth dying for on the hill. Yes, doggone right. You have these females out here. Let's speak in let's speak in gynocentric terms. Let's speak in gynocentric terms. These females went out here and created videos on behalf of this political party talking about the vote and talking about their vaginas and how powerful their vaginas are. And the reason why these females go out here and talk about their vaginas and talk about sex is because they know that too many of us are seduced by that corroded, I'm using David Carroll's words, many of us are seduced by that corroded snatch. And we will bow down and simp out as soon as she spread them legs. We will overlook her ratchetness. We will overlook her horrible attitude. We will overlook her belligerence. We will overlook her uncooperative nature. We would overlook her misandry for the sake of having access to that corroded snatch. You're right, Christopher Clipper. You got Negroes who are compromising their lives. They're compromising higher values for the sake of snatch. You got people out here, you got black people out here, you got Lil Nas X. You got that saucy Santana, whatever his name is, bending over. They bend over. They done bent over for this empire. They done bent over for this empire just to get $2, just to get some attention. And you got to get to a point as a man, as a black man, you got to get to a point where that cat that she got, I don't care how wet her cat is. I don't care how good the sloppy is. The sloppy toppy, I don't care how good that is. I don't care how fine she looks. I don't care how she presents herself to you in a seductive way. You got to be able to say, you know what, I got higher principles that I'm standing on that I'm not going to compromise. At a broader level, at a larger level, we got to say this thing. We have to say this to the vast majority of black people who are committed to a complete gynocentric regime. We in this black manosphere, we black men, we represent a critical minority. We represent a critical minority of thinking black men who are dissenting against the dominant black American culture. I want y'all to get this. We are a critical minority of thinking black men who are dissenting against the dominant tendencies, the gynocentric tendencies of black American culture. We are dissenting against the black American matriarchy. And we are not compromising with the matriarchy, and we are not going to sell our souls for the matriarchy in efforts of keeping this matriarchy alive. You doggone right, Charles Faulkner. They want us to be the garbage men of the dating world, and they want to pay us low wages. The garbage men of the dating world are paid low wages, and they want you to be satisfied with those low wages. But I'd rather be an independent black man, and I'd rather go and find another economy. I'd rather go out there and find another market than to deal with this low wage garbage economy that is tied to this matriarchy. The man who cannot be bought, the black man who cannot be bought, says no to the matriarchy. The black man who cannot be bought, the black man who cannot be bought is uncompromising with this matriarchy. You don't compromise with it. And we dissent against it. We dissent against this matriarchy politically. And that's why I've been talking about these elections. I'm going to continue to talk about these elections. I have voted independently. I'm going to continue to vote independently apart from this matriarchy. My last stream, I talked about the Republican Party simply as an option. As an option. I'm not telling black men to become Republicans. There is the protest vote. You can protest vote. You can give the Republicans a protest vote strategically, not because you agree with Republicans, but because you want to send a message to the matriarchy, and you want to send the message more importantly to the powerful forces that keep the matriarchy alive. That is the powerful white forces, white supremacy, white imperialism that is deeply invested in perpetuating this matriarchy. And this matriarchy is deeply, 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 deeply committed to the underdevelopment of black men and black boys. It's a billion-dollar matriarchy. This matriarchy, it is a billion-dollar matriarchy. And what they do with these elections by creating a boogeyman, what they do, they create a Republican boogeyman every election. They create a boogeyman. They tell you that fascism is going to take over America if you allow these Republicans to get in power and all that kind of stuff. You're going to have a new version of Donald Trump. He's going to be worse and all that kind of stuff. Scare you. Fear, 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 fear. and they promise you $2 in the process. They promise you $2 or $3 or $5 in the process. That's why I keep it 100. That's why I keep it 100. It's not about the money. That's the point. It is not about the money. It's not about the money. Not about money. It's about a larger commitment that transcends money. Your freedom, your ability to move in the world as a free man, your ability to have free associations, your ability to travel the world freely, your ability to do whatever the hell you want to do with your life doesn't have a monetary value on it. You can't put that stuff in monetary terms. I want y'all to think about it like this. And again, I'm having a stream of consciousness. I'm having a stream of consciousness. This is a stream of consciousness. Jay-Z, with all the money that he got, Jay-Z with all the money that he got, Jay-Z is a billionaire, right? He's a billionaire. Let's just say he's a billionaire. Jay-Z is a billionaire. He got lots of money. How free is Jay-Z? How free is Jay-Z? How free is Jay-Z? How free is he? That's the question. It's a sad thing. I'm gonna say it. I think that I don't think that Jay-Z is truly free. He got money, yeah, he got money, he got options, he could do something. But Jay-Z, I mean, to be free, to do everything that he might want to do, and to say in the world. And I respect Jay-Z. I respect his hustle as a businessman. This ain't no shot. I ain't taking no shots at Jay-Z, man. I'm not taking any shots at Jay-Z. But there are forces that are connected to Jay-Z. There are lots of forces connected to Jay-Z that compel Jay-Z to be cautious in terms of how he moves in the world. Jay-Z is very cautious. He's very careful about how he moves in the world. And I'm going to say this, guys, if you are overly cautious, if you got a man who's a damn near billionaire, or if he is a billionaire and he is overly cautious about how he moves in the world, that means that man is not free. He ain't free. If he got to be concerned about how people are gonna interpret his moves and what he says, business wise and otherwise, you always cautious and you always concerned about what other people think. You ain't if you are always concerned about what other people think, black man, you are not free. That's right, Coach Lamont. What's the use of having all that money if you ain't free? What's the use? What's the use? What's the use of having all that doggone money if you can't say fuck you to anybody? Let me keep it real. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck, 100. Whereas keep it 100. Where you at, man? Don't go nowhere, man. Don't go nowhere, man. I might bring you up. I think I'm gonna drop the link, man. 100. Don't go nowhere. Charles Falconer, where you at? Charles Falconer, you still here? I'm had to bring you in here too, man. Charles Falconer, keep 100. I hope Charles is still here. What's the use of having all that damn money if you can't say what the fuck you want to say and do what the hell you want to do? What's the use of having all that money when you got to always be concerned about public opinion? Well, what are the women gonna think? If I do this, what the women gonna think? If I do this, what the white people gonna think? What's the use of having all that goddamn money? I'm sorry. What's the use of having all that money if that's how you gonna live in the world? What the people on Wall Street gonna think? What's the use? Hell, I don't have Jay-Z money. I don't have Jay-Z money. I don't live my life like that. I got stuff to lose. I got stuff to lose. Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, all these guys, they're slaves. They're slaves to forces that are outside of them. Dave Chappelle is the only person. So you got Dave Chappelle in addition to our brother who is out there right now. You have Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is the only joker out there in the world of entertainment next to our brother who is exercising his freedom as a black man. And he got money. And he doesn't give a damn about what people say or think. He don't care about who's offended. He moves the way he wants to move. That's freedom. Dave Chappelle knows what his value is. He knows what his worth is. And Dave Chappelle is not compromising with anybody. Them transgenders came after Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle said, I'm not changing my message. I'm not changing my comedy. I'm not bowing down to you. I'm not going to amend anything that I have said. That's Dave Chappelle. That's what I'm talking about. When you look at Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle says, and I saw this, I saw it on Netflix. You go to Netflix, his high school wanted to create an entire auditorium after his name. And the students at the high school protested, said, we don't want Dave Chappelle there and all that kind of stuff. And they, they didn't. It's the Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and they wanted to name an auditorium, a building after Dave Chappelle, and the students protested. And somehow the administrators came to a compromise with the students and Dave Chappelle, and they named it something else. They brought Dave Chappelle in to talk about this honorific moment. And when Dave Chappelle came in, he doubled down on his comedic philosophy. He says, I am an artist. This is what art is all about. And I'm doing this, and I want you to understand what art is all about. And I'm not changing my philosophy of art for anybody. So Dave Chappelle makes lots of money. He makes good money. But his commitment to his art, Dave Chappelle, his commitment to his art transcends money. Dave Chappelle is a black man who cannot be bought. I don't care what anyone says. Dave Chappelle makes the world come to him. He does not go to the world. You deal with Dave Chappelle on his terms. I am not watering my comedy down. That is Dave Chappelle. I don't care what y'all say, what y'all think. The man can't be bought. Our brother who we are talking about in the media right now, he went on a scorched earth campaign. It was a scorched earth campaign. He knows. One thing about the scorched earth campaign is that all of your enemies, they expose, all of their weaknesses are exposed. Number one, all of their weaknesses are exposed. All of their weaknesses. You've exploited all their weaknesses. You've exploited their weaknesses to the point that they can't hide their weaknesses. Number two, the Scorched Earth campaign outed all of the fake friends, all of the fake allies. That's what the Scorched Earth campaign did. All the people who you think are down with you, their true loyalty comes out in the Scorched Earth campaign. So now, our brother who is out there in the media right now, he knows who his real friends are. I will say it over again. This man knows who his real friends are. And this man has broken relationships. He has ended ties. He is saying, I no longer want to do business like this anymore. I want something new. I want something different. I want a complete alternative. That's what this man has done and is doing right now. And I will start anew. I will start afresh and create something that the world has never seen before. This is the man who cannot be bought. This man, he done outed all the hardcore rappers, all the hardcore rappers who talk all that rah-rah stuff, all the hardcore rappers who talk all that gangster stuff on record and on videos, in interviews, all the street stuff. He's exposed all the he's exposed who they are. Because all those rah-rah rappers are shook. They all shook right now. All of them are shook. They all shook. They all scared. They're running. They're disassociating themselves from him. I don't want to go too long tonight, guys. I don't want to go too long because I was having this is a stream of consciousness. This is a stream of consciousness. This is a rant. about the black man in particular, and the man in general who cannot be bought. Now, keep it 100, Charles Faulkner. I'm dropping a link. You guys don't have to come in. You guys don't have to come in. I don't want to put you guys on the spot. If you're still here, if you guys are still here, I'm dropping a link. If you guys are still here, you guys are not under any pressure whatsoever to chime in or whatever. I'm just gonna put the link there. But we're talking about uncompromising black men. That's what we're talking about. And if no one comes in, I'm gonna shut the stream down shortly. But it's about uncompromising black men. Men who cannot be bought. And y'all saw The Dark Knight. Y'all saw that movie, The Dark Knight. Y'all see the thumbnail. Y'all see that thumbnail. Just imagine a black man standing in front of piles and piles of money, compromising money from so-called partners, business partners, who you don't trust, trying to buy something from you, to buy your loyalty, buy your commitment, to buy whatever. And you tell these people it ain't about the money. It's not about the money. It's something bigger that's going on. I'm glad you guys are here in the house. I'm glad all you guys are in the house on this Wednesday night. It's not about the money. There's a much bigger picture, my brothers. And that's what this Black Manosphere is all about. That's why we're here. To promote black male agency, black male's empowerment, black male's happiness, black male's agency. That's what we are all about. Chemical JDZ, what's going on, brother?
Yo, what's going on, bro?
How you doing?
All right, man. Good to hear from you. Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, brother. What you got to say? Holler at us.
Oh man, I've been holding back for a long time, waiting on somebody big enough to step out and start this conversation. Like, there's a lot that I've been wanting to say about all of this, and a lot of things that I know, and about the situations of our people and how you know we don't control nothing in this place. We don't even control our families.
That's right.
We you know, and it's about time that our brothers start sticking together with brothers that say, "Hey, look, man, I'm tired of living like this. I don't care if I can't have $1 million. I want my peace."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Ain't no money amount of that. You know what I mean? You can't buy that peace knowing that you can be who you want to be and nobody's there to tell you or stop you or say, "Hey, you can't say that or this or that." It's got it's got to the point where we can't even be ourselves no more in this country. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then I don't want to be here no way. Like, you might as well just, like you say, scorched earth, man. Just burn it all up.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You can't put monetary value on peace, brother. You can't do it. It is
No,
completely impossible. And black men, and that's why we're in this space because we are at that point. We are at that point where this situation is no longer tolerable. And
exactly.
yeah, and we have to be willing to make the necessary sacrifices in order to have that freedom that other people take for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. They can come and go and please and leave the country and come back and do what they want to do. But a black man want to leave the country, he can go out and do what he want to do. Oh, he got a problem. He got to be going to date younger women and all this other stuff. We can't just live life. You know what I mean? We can't go where we want to go.
Hmm.
I mean, why
That's
not?
it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Saint
Hey, Saint
Saint
Nick
Nick's
60, Saint Nick
69.
69.
What's
Yes.
going on, brother? What's going on? Good to see you, man.
Hey,
Holla at
what's up?
us. Talk to us, man.
Hey, what's up? I'm from up the street from you. I'm down south too, brother.
Yes, sir.
And I've been watching your videos and BMI,
Yes, sir.
black male independence, black male, BMA, black male autonomy, right?
Yeah, agency. You call it
Agency. Okay.
autonomy too. Autonomy and agency are together.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Right.
It's as a black man in America, it's Lord knows it's hard. Finally got my passport. I
Good.
plan on
Yes, sir.
using it in the spring. I got house repairs here, so I got to get that stuff taken care of first.
Hmm.
But it's one of them deals. And I put a message in the live chat. I said I think November 8th is gonna finally be the day when black men
Yes.
officially give the B Dub the middle finger.
There you go.
We're
Fact.
hearing about Stacey Abrams, and stuff she's doing, or not doing where we're concerned. Karen Bass in LA is having problems
Hmm.
bringing in the black male vote. And they don't get it. We're done. We're done. You know, it's worse than I said in a video of mine that with Stacey Abrams, Brian Kemp
Hmm.
is trying to, the way I said it was, not going for, think of it as a football game,
Hmm.
not going for, not trying to convince brothers to just not vote at all, is going for 1 point. Convincing them to vote for you is going for 2 points, and it looks like Brian Kemp is going for two.
Hmm.
All stuff that, these guys, the Republicans, and we know that the Republicans don't particularly care for black folks anyway,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Mhm.
Their attitude is, hey, throw the brothers the bone.
There you go.
You
There
know.
you go. There you go. There we go. We are being strategic, and as I said before, uh, there was also, and I talked about it. It's called the protest vote. So it doesn't matter whether you vote independent or you vote Republican. This is a protest against all the stuff that is supposed to that pretends to be concerned for black folks.
Yep. Well,
You know what I'm
when they talk about black folks, reference Ice Cube. They're not
saying?
talking about black folks in general. They're talking about half of us,
Half of us. There you go.
and we know which half.
There you go.
And think about this: the cities that have you know who as mayors. What are
Hmm.
those cities like?
Look at them. You look at them. You got Baltimore. You got Chicago.
I'm finna bring it on down home. I was
Yeah.
in New Orleans last weekend.
Uh huh.
Um, no, go to the French Quarter. If those of you who are listening, you know about Canal Street.
Uh
No,
huh.
that's like the big wide main street.
Hmm.
Place smelled like a damn head shop. It
Mm.
smells like weed
Yep.
all the way through.
Hmm.
I don't have a problem with weed or nothing like that. I mean, I don't smoke, but when a whole damn street as wide as it is smells like weed, it's like, damn.
Hmm.
Every
Yeah.
city that has you know who running the city is a damn shithole.
Hmm. That's it. I was in New Orleans back in the first week of August. Second, I'm sorry, yeah, the second week of August. I was in New Orleans. I was on Canal Street, Bourbon, and all of them. There, I was in New Orleans for a whole week, and everything that you're talking about, I saw.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
it's
saw.
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's the mayor there, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Uncle Foot.
There
Uh,
you go.
yep. Hey,
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Baltimore. You know, and
All love. Mm-hmm.
and the thing I notice is what makes them different from other people who run the city when they run something, when they're in charge of something, they're not interested in making sure it runs properly.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to make sure that they're running it.
That's
Yep.
it. That's it. That's it. Just
So,
sitting on the throne without doing anything.
that's it. Long as they
Taking
in the
up
captain,
space.
long as they in the captain's chairs, they can run the damn starship into a damn sun or an asteroid. As long as I'm in that captain's chair.
That's it. That's it.
So
That's it. We got Ab meeting in the house. What's going on, Ab? Hold on, Ab, before you say anything. Thank you, Tim Howard. Thank you, Tim Howard. That's right, man. BMI, BMH, SYSBM, passport travel. That is it. This is it, man. We doing this thing here. Ab Media, talk to us, man.
Man, I haven't voted for a Democrat like that since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That's last time I held my nose and voted for Hillary Clinton, and I still
Oh my
can't get
God.
that stank out of
I
my mouth.
did it too.
Stank
Don't
out.
feel bad.
Oh
I
my
did it
God.
too.
I can't get that. I still can't get that stank out of my nose. That's how I feel about it.
I'm the same way. I voted for Hillary and I regretted it afterwards. I
I
did.
didn't even vote.
I was the
After
And
that,
I
I
same.
was
wasn't
like,
even
never.
upset when Trump won.
That was the first time I ever really had to hold my nose, and after that, I was like, never again.
I was the
Yep.
same way.
I
I
voted
was.
Couldn't
straight
do it.
libertarian in 18. Voted for Trump in 2024.
Mhm.
I mean in 20. And I have no intention of voting for any Democrat this time around.
You're not gonna listen to Tiffany Cross?
I'm gonna be respectful because this is Dr. Neal's channel.
I'm being funny. I'm
Ha
being
ha
funny.
ha.
I'm gonna be respectful.
You're not gonna do
Yeah.
what Big Mama says.
Oh my God. Get in
Well,
line. Get in line, black
Like
man.
I
Get in
said,
line.
I'm being funny. I'm being funny.
I will say this as far as them on that certain video, get a vibrator.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I've been watching her for a couple of years. Watch her stuff because you got to know what the enemy is up to. Number one, but if you look real close, you'll see that she has body glitter on. And I'm like, what the fuck were you doing the night before?
Mm.
And that's no
Yeah.
joke. Watch her show. Watch her show. And look, there are times
Talking about Tiffany
she's got
Cross.
yes, yes.
Well,
Hmm.
I don't
I
know,
know body
Doctor.
glitter when I see it.
I don't know, Doctor Neil caught it in the chat. I don't think Tucker Carlson was wrong about her and Joy Reid.
What was the thing about
No,
her and Joy Reid?
He
no,
said they're
no.
race hustlers, pretty much,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
they are.
agree.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Joy Reid is another one.
yeah.
And
They
You
are.
know,
don't get it twisted. I'm not really a fan of Tucker Carlson. I've never been a fan of Tucker Carlson, but look, you got to call a spade a spade. He's not wrong about that.
You're
but
absolutely right.
you know,
You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. Tucker Carlson. I mean, what he called out was, you
He,
know,
to be
what.
fair to Tucker, he's an improvement over the last guy that was there in that slot.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, and the thing is, man, is that this race hustle is becoming more and more apparent to many people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the way that they talk about white supremacy and all that kind of stuff, as though the Democratic Party is some revolutionary entity that is really committed to liberating black folks from
that's
so-called
funny. That's funny,
well,
Doctor
it's a
anti-black
Neil.
dog
racism.
whistle. It's
That's funny,
that's
Doctor
our
Neil.
dog whistle.
If I'm not mistaken, the Democratic Party was started by Andrew Jackson, who was a slave owner. If
Oh
I'm
Mhm.
not
yeah,
mistaken,
I'm from Tennessee. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and he was a son of
and
a
was
bitch.
notorious for slaughtering Indians.
Yep,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trail of
You know,
Tears, baby. That started with him.
black people didn't start moving to that party until FDR.
No,
You know what I mean?
actually, Lyndon Johnson.
And
When he
then
signed the civil rights bill, that's when black folks started seriously moving over. And he had said we have lost the South for probably the next 100 years.
uh-huh.
And I'd be
Yeah, that's
damned if
true.
that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that was what and it was the '60s where it basically crystallized the black vote rather, and it has us where we are right now. You know what I mean? And
And don't forget the
uh,
feminism movement.
yeah, yeah, and then the thing about Lyndon Johnson at that time, I mean, you had, and I talked about this on Saturday. You had all of the Dixiecrats. You had all in the South.
Yep,
In the South. The South was primarily a Democratic bastion. You know what I
yep.
mean? So you had the northern wing of the Democratic Party. You had the southern wing of the party, and the southern wing, they were the Confederates. You know what I mean? And
The
Lyndon Baines,
Dixiecrats.
Dixiecrats, he drove them out with that civil rights legislation. He drove them out. They went over to the Republican Party.
Yep,
You know
Yep,
what I mean?
that's it.
And they
is what
created
it is.
yeah, they created the Republican Party that we know right now. You know what I mean?
And then the religious right joined in with them.
There you go. There
Yep.
you go. There you go.
Yeah, we know who the Republicans are. I don't pretend that the Republicans are completely for black folk.
No, no
But
one does. No one does. No, no. No, I mean, that's why it's strategic. If we did, and that's why I said this. I said this on Facebook. I said, if black men are to deal with the Republican Party, we need to deal with them, in terms of business, logic,
Yep.
rationale,
I agree.
not as emotional voters. Black people are emotional when it comes down to voting. You know what I mean? Black people are not strategic. At least at this moment in time. And so if any black man deals with the Republican Party, he know what he's dealing with. That's why I call it the devil that we know. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You
Actually,
know,
when back in 2020, one of the arguments I made was, look, you want Trump to do something for black folk? Write up a plan, put Trump's name on it, then sell it to him.
mhm,
You know he's an maniac. Use that to your advantage.
there you go.
Yep. Sell it to him.
There
Make
you
them pay
go.
for it.
There you go. There you go. We got thank you, BGS Ibmore. BGS Ibmore is in the house. Thank you for that support. Thank you for all you guys who are
Yeah.
watching. We got 81 people that are in the house tonight. We have
Support Dr. Neil.
some new folks that are in here. I've got we got Saint 69, and I got, let's see what we got. We got some more folks in here.
Hey, what's
Light
going on, brother?
Gene DNA. What's happening, man? Talk to us.
All right, man. Just pretty much tuning in and just enjoying the bill right now. I like everything that's being said, and when I have something to say, I definitely will say it respectfully, man. So
Okay.
just enjoying the panel right now, and I thank you, brothers, for allowing me on.
Cool.
All right.
But
Sure.
I actually just watched the Pennsylvania Senate debate,
Uh-huh.
and that was actually quite disturbing. The Democrat candidate is clearly not fit.
No,
I had heard the dude had a stroke a few months
he
ago,
did. He did.
and I didn't say anything. I was like, okay, I was like, okay, let it play out. I haven't seen it. I hadn't seen him in public at the time, but I watched that debate today and actually did it and went live and did it. But I was flabbergasted. I kid you not. He started out the debate. This is how he started the debate. Good night. I'm such and such.
Dang.
Not good evening. Good night. I'm such and such. I was like, whoa.
And the scary part is the alternative is not much better.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And
Hey,
and
can
that's
I
been
ask y'all a quick question? Not
That's
to
one of the cringiest debates I've ever seen.
Yes, sir. What
let me
question?
ask
What
y'all.
you got? What you got?
So the question I wanted to ask, man, us as a people, right? Do you guys really think politics is the answer to our problems? Do you think politics is the solution to our problems, or do you think at this point, I think politics has showed us, no matter if it's on the Republican side or the Democrat side, it has showed us that it's not for us. The system is not for us. Nothing, none of this. Oh, my bad. I had a phone call, but yeah, none of this stuff is for us. So, do you guys think politics is the answer to all of our problems, or?
I think we just don't know how to play the game right.
True.
That's
I
what I
feel
think.
like the game. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like this wasn't made for us anyway, and the game is never going to be the same. And the way they playing it, we don't have a fair hand. We don't have a fair beginning of this game. And the way I feel about it is like when I was a kid or when I was younger, and I would play a game, and somebody would not tell me how the game goes and be scoring and winning on me and all that stuff, and then I got to
Yep.
come back and then win. You know, that I used to have to do that, but then it was the other times when I never knew how the game went and I kept losing. So you know what I did? I flipped the game over. I start over. Hey man, let's start over. No, you got 15 points. I don't even know how you got the first point. So let's start over, and then we're gonna play it from here if they want to do that. But if that's the case, then we should have our own government and everything. That's my whole thing about the whole thing. I don't mind politics as long as we doing it amongst each other. But I don't see how we gonna politic with people that's not of our people that's gonna have a a a, a benefit in it. You know what I mean? They don't have a leg in the fight, so why would they care what goes on in our community? That's why I feel like we should be governing ourselves accordingly. That's my main thing.
Sadly, I think the women have figured enough of that out to be able to do that. We men have to be able to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, here's the thing: the women have already separated themselves from us as far as
Precisely.
as far as the political block. Why not do the same?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, every country, every citizen, everybody that has a nationality, has an embassy here. We don't have an embassy. The black men don't have nothing in this country to back us up for nothing. It's just like, hey, you was born here. Um, whatever happened to you is gonna happen to you because ain't nobody here for you. Anybody else
Can
come
I?
to this
All right.
country, they got somebody to go to.
Well,
Okay.
we're
So
the one
okay. Now
we're
stick
the
to
ones
that. Look
at
what
the
he just
bottom.
said. He said a mouthful. Y'all listen to what he just said. Respectfully, he said that everybody else, every other race, have somebody to go to but us. So again, I'm gonna reiterate my question. Okay, everything we've tried from the beginning, we noticed that we're not finding no answers in this world. We're not finding no answers from the so-called white man. We're not finding no answers from religion. All right. When I say religion, I'm talking about false religion. We're not
Yeah,
finding no answers from there. We're not finding no answers from politics. Where are these answers? Where's the
Well,
answers?
well, the
Because
point
we're
is,
looking outside.
well, that's the
yep,
point. You're not supposed that the
Yep.
answers are not for you, and they're not going to give you no answers.
That's the
hmm
point I'm trying to make, brother. What I'm
Oh,
trying to
agreed,
the point I'm
agreed.
trying to make is, yeah, we keep looking for these answers on the outside, but have we said and thought like, damn, every maybe this is a spiritual thing, man. maybe the way out is in. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
what else? What other? Let me
No argument.
let's be
That's
honest.
possible.
What
That's
you know
possible.
what I mean? Because what other way could we possibly try? We tried everything, but the only thing we didn't try is coming back to the knowledge and understanding of the Most High. That's it. That's the only thing. Now you know some of our people tried the whole Jesus, but I'm not talking about that phony baloney stuff. I'm talking about real spiritual, going within, man, and building that, you know what I'm saying, and understanding your Bible, not just reading it like a kid book, but
But
understanding.
but something to think about when it comes to power and groups that seek power. They don't necessarily look to the inside, the Most High. They look to get the power first, and then all that other stuff comes afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what a, I'm gonna tell you
Power
what
is
a,
not necessarily
hmm?
spiritual.
Nah, but I'm disagree respectfully because it was once a saying that goes, billionaires, see, billionaires, they're not into what you guys think they're into. You see what I'm saying? Billionaires are into shit like, excuse my language, you guys. Billionaires are into things like astronomy, you know, understanding the stars, and they're not into what you see millionaires are into. They're not into the showing off my Ferrari and showing off the latest jewelry I got. They're not into that.
The
They're
vast
into trying
majority,
to achieve immortality and all of
well,
that, man.
and
They,
their
they,
main
they
philosophy, just real quick, the main thing that drives
hmm
them when it comes to stuff like that, immortality, wealth, all that, is the ends justify the means. I don't give a damn how I get there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I got what you're saying. But here's the thing: I'd rather be into what. Here's the thing: if my enemy is over me, right? I would want to know what the strategies my enemies are using to rule over me. And once I realize that these strategies my enemies are using is not physical, then I may want to go check out, you know what I'm saying, some of this spiritual, because this war is not flesh. Like I told you, these billionaires are on some other type level, man.
And the
You
Well,
see what
question
I'm saying?
is, are you willing to do what they did to get there?
I don't gotta do what
It's a
they
tough,
did.
and I'm not asked. That's not a question that anybody here needs to try to answer. You can answer it for yourself, but it's like in the old movie The Untouchables. If you ever remember it, Sean Connery asked Kevin Costner, "What are you prepared to do?" He sends a knife. He uses a knife. You got to use a gun. He sends yours to the hospital. You got to send his to the morgue. What are you prepared to do? And
Listen, it starts with self though.
Agreed.
See, you know
Okay.
what I think though. When I and I don't mean if I'm hogging the mic, you guys just let me know. I fall back because I don't like to talk too much. But look, what I think, I see a lot of our people are trying. I see broken people trying to heal other broken people. That's all I see in our community is broken men trying to heal other broken men, and broken women trying to heal other broken women. You see what I'm saying? Without understanding, look, start with you first. And here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you something about slavery, right? See, this so-called white man got smart on us. See, he realized that with physical, with physical enslavement comes spiritual liberation. When you keep somebody embodied physically and physically enslaved physically, what happens is you liberate them spiritually because they minds start going elsewhere because they know they can't do nothing physically to escape the enslavement. So now they go elsewhere spiritually. So they say, hold on, now we can't let that happen. So they took those chains off of our hands and our feet and put them on our mind. You see what I'm saying? So now what happens is an illusion that's created. Now you walk around freely, you able to get your little money, whatnot. Now is an illusion because you think that's a sense of freedom, but it's not because they got you by the yoke spiritually. Slavery was never about what you think it was about. Slavery was about keeping you from spiritually. You see what I'm saying? Understand it. Listen, on them slave,
Slavery is about
on them.
money.
It's never about money, brother. Money is temporary. They don't care about that.
Well, it was
Slavery
about
is not
money to
about.
the slave master.
Nah, man, it's
It
not.
was
That's what
about
they
It
told
was
you.
about
it was about money. They did it for cotton. They needed somebody
Nah,
to pick
brother.
that cotton.
Okay, so I'm
This
about
is
to
this.
blow your mind right now. You
Jump in real
saying it's
quick.
about cotton, right? So check this out. If it was about cotton back then, what do you think money is made of? And I'm gonna end my talk right there.
Same thing. Cotton,
You know what
cloth.
I'm saying?
I
So
feel that
so
one.
they got you picking a cotton just with a, you know what I'm saying, and a different, they got you picking cotton without you even know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a
Yo,
Okay,
spiritual
okay, I
okay.
thing.
got one for you, brothers. All right, listen to this one. Okay, the thing is, I've been sitting back listening. I've been trying to jump in. I'm gonna jump in real quick. The thing that we fail to realize in this whole thing that they keep that they got us going around in the hamster wheel is the distraction. It's all about keeping us distracted and away from each other because if we are together, we the spiritual is without even calling upon it. It's already there. We're just not on one accord. You know what I'm saying? We're not just together on some together shit. Like even you can't even be to yourself together pretty much nowadays in this country because you gotta you gotta do so much to survive to live here. So now your distraction is okay, I gotta try to eat or I gotta live. I gotta pay these bills. I gotta have this job. I gotta work for this company for this many years to get this amount of money so I could die with a couple of dollars in my pocket. It's been a distraction the whole time. We out here working for companies. We out here hustling and bustling, trying to get money just to pay bills and buy nice things. That ain't what we supposed to be about. That ain't what it's about. You know,
but it was
we buying. You
go
know,
ahead, go
we're
ahead.
buying their products. You know what I'm saying? And we're making them richer, and they're getting richer off of us, and they don't even wear their shit. They ain't interested in wearing that they cheap ass clothes. They buy other people's clothes. They don't want to buy their shit. They know their
Well,
shit cheap.
well,
Listen, let me say this respectfully. You know how I'm gonna tell you something. Look at Elon Musk for a minute. These people are coming up with ways to leave the physical body, man. Is what I'm trying to tell you, man. They on a different
Oh
whole
yeah,
level than we are. They're talking,
they on that meta space
nah,
thing. Yeah.
nah. It's about spiritual. Now check this out. Let me just say this real quick, right?
more
Um,
about technology.
uh, uh. Damn, I done lost my train of thoughts, but I was gonna drop something on you for a minute. All right, somebody else could talk. I'm gonna get my train of thoughts right back, and then I'm gonna come back.
Well, if you think about it, we when we were brought here, we were not all of one mind. We came from different tribes. I'm in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
reading Daughters of the Trade, and
Mm-hmm. Okay.
they
Mm-hmm.
and it was all about different tribes, and when we were brought here, slave masters, slave dealers, they realized that and capitalized on it. That's one of the reasons
Mhm.
we're at each other's throats now. That's something that goes back from the time we were brought here. You turn this tribe against that tribe. So
Yeah.
on the plantation, well, I'm in this tribe. I may curry favor with Massa if I can get the member of this other tribe in trouble.
Hmm.
Just something to think about.
Oh, that's I remember now. So what I was gonna tell you guys is this: they do studies on us. They do type stuff like this, right? And study us, all right? Because believe it or not, they study us. They've been studying us. It's not a secret. This is the type of
Facts.
stuff that they're on, right? They look at us, right, and they say, okay, we got these people, man. It's something about them. Let's study them. What they found out about us is consciousness divides itself, right? Consciousness divides itself. Now, what do I mean by that? They figured out that when your consciousness is under a state of pressure, it creates new awareness. So, for an example, if I take a hammer and I can build a house with this hammer, right? I go ahead and put a nail inside of of wood, and I bang that hammer down, and I hit my hand, bang, right, and I say, "Ow!" Guess what happened? I just learned what else this hammer can do. I learned what not to do with the hammer. So you learn it in the midst of your pain. That's what it means by consciousness divide itself. Because even in the midst of pain, something new you just learned. So what am I saying? We are put in the harshest conditions, man, for a reason. This is not just for nothing. Oh, we struggling and all of that. No, man, y'all missing the point. This is about liberation spiritually. Listen, the Bible says you are strongest when you at your weakest. But y'all looking at weakness as what it is. Nah, man, you are strong when you weak because get what? Physically you strong, but if you listen, if you made it this far, if you went through all through what you went through in your life and you here right now to speak about it, you're strong. I wouldn't give it what you say. You understand? But our people don't look at it this way. They look at it, oh, we're struggling. And oh man, this is about liberating you spiritually. It's building you up for something. See what I'm saying? Because guess what? You can't, it's like going to the gym. I always tell everybody, man, when you want to build muscles, you need what? Resistance. You need something that's resistant, something that's going, and what resistance comes growth. So how can you grow without resistance? You
Let
see what
me
I'm saying? You gotta
let
have.
me
Go ahead.
I want to bring us back because first of all I want to say, let me just say, artist and MC, if you're still listening, brother, it was an era. It was an era. Don't I hope you're still here, brother. It was an era on my part right here with the chat and what have you, brother. I was trying to get rid of some trolls. I had a troll up in the chat, and I was trying to get rid of some troll, and something happened with your comments and what have you. So if you're still here, artist and MC, uh, you come back on in here. Wall Street J, thank you for that super chat, man. Yeah, the code of black man, we're gonna find a way, or we'll create one. SYSBM for life. That is it. But I want us to stay focused, guys, because the thing about, and all of this is related. Um, black men have to be uncompromising right now. This is
Agreed.
2022,
Hmm.
and so I want us to address that because there are a lot of compromised black men that are out there.
Yep.
They're going to be compromised black men who are going to vote against um, their interest, the collective body of black men, and I want us to address that. I also want to acknowledge Dr. T.S.R. Johnson. Dr. T.S.R. Johnson is in the house.
Yes.
We're glad to
Shout
see you,
out.
Dr. T.S.R.
Salute to Dr.
Johnson.
T.
I see
Salute.
Rico. I see you, my brother.
Your
I see
son
you.
and
I see you.
BGS.
I see you in the chat. Rico, the opinion. This is up in the chat, man. Glad to see that you're a part of the stream. This is this is something that's serious. So you guys, y'all talk about speak to this whole notion of black men being uncompromised and black men, not buckling
But
down, to these
I
these
I
these
could touch on
seductive
that, brother.
forces. Go ahead.
Not with the compromising thing. Now, what the black man got to decide is between two things, and that's love and that's money. That's it. That's what it all boils down to. See, because only compromise only comes when you're connected or tied to materialistic things, the materialistic values of certain things. That's when you can become compromised. When your heart, when you said look, the Bible say wherever your heart is, your treasure is at. So wherever your heart is at, your heart really not really for saving your people then, and if it's really on focusing on let me get this check, then you can always be compromised. So it's between two decisions, love or money. That's all. That's it. That's why they got a saying that says love or war.
Ask
It's
the
a choice.
conquistadors when they came here to the what we call the New World. They did not have love in their hearts.
No,
But
they was
see,
trying to make
that what
money.
I'm trying to But see that what I'm trying to tell you. See, what the black man is looking at is, oh, if this so-called white man give me a check, this white man care about me. He the one paying my bill. He the one helping me provide for my family. I look at it like our people feel like, oh man, the white man is the one cutting us the check. They the one
But
helping us provide for the family. So, hey man, you know what I'm saying? Is a false sense of
Yeah,
security
because what is it
for
that
black
money
men.
for?
think
You know,
for a time
and,
we're
and
gonna have to. We may have very well have to put the love aspect aside and decide what are we willing to do.
Hmm.
Like I said,
Mhm.
when the white man came over here, he didn't have love in his heart, so
you
we
know
may
it's
have
gonna
to
be the
put that
best thing.
aside
No,
You know
and
it's
for a
gonna be
No,
the
moment.
he's
best
trying to
thing
make
that
money.
happened to the system. I'm gonna tell you the best thing that's gonna happen to this, and it's gonna happen soon. It's about to happen soon. The best thing that's about to happen to this system, that dollar crashing. I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
why,
that's
because
great.
Oh,
that's
you
gonna
think
that's gonna
you
cut.
better
Hey,
pray
listen,
that doesn't
that's gonna
happen.
cut the man. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
You better
Trust
pray
me.
that
It's
doesn't
it's gonna
happen.
happen. No,
You don't know
listen,
what
brother. It's
you
gonna
don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on your life. You better pray
brother.
that doesn't
It's
happen.
not it, brother. It's not gonna have no effect on me. I know it's gonna happen. Listen. I know it's gonna happen, and I can tell you roughly about when it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sooner than y'all think. But well, listen, what I'm trying to tell y'all is for our benefit, because see what's gonna happen is it's gonna
Okay.
show you that money is not what you need to sustain and survive. It's
Oh
love.
boy.
That's what it's gonna teach you. You can say
Okay,
you can
brother.
say whatever you want, but when it happens, brother,
Gas went up
you're gonna be
16
like,
cents today where I'm at. Love is not going to fill my gas
money
tank.
has been
Okay.
here. Money has
That,
been here for thousands of
you
years.
know
we got
how it
Wall.
is.
Hold on. Wait, guys. Wait, guys. We got Wall Street J is up in the house. I'm about to bring in the officer of the goddamn law, Charles Faulkner. But
All
Wall Street
right.
J, go ahead. Go ahead and chime in, brother.
You know, I was listening to the whole idea in regards to, whether black men should have a strategic move and, vote for our interests. And I do understand that both parties do not have black men as a focal point, or they look at us in a good light. And, it's buddy buddy with them. This is about business. You see, what we need to do
Agreed. It
is
should be about business with the Democrats. They don't
now
love us.
I agree with light game DNA because I'm a Hebrew myself, so I understand. My dad tells me 6 days shall work be done, and on the seventh day is a holy convocation.
Hold
No
on. One
rest.
of you guys, wait. Honey, one of you guys, y'all got some sound going on back here, man. I can't hear. I need some of you guys to mute up because
Okay.
we got. Okay, here we go. I got it right now. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, so 6 days shall work be done. On the seventh day is a holy convocation. No work shall be done therein. We had a system of how we work. You know, I think that we need economics, but at the same time, you know, not necessarily the love thing, but structure. When I'm in South Florida, when I look around and I meet all these Hispanic families, they have structure. They have a belief system that allows them to be able to dominate their environment, and they'll be able to, you know, control how their children grow up and how they're raised and stuff like that. But see, we don't have that in our community due to the various external forces such as the U.S. government and
And
other
also
factors.
due to the fact that the women have been trained to believe that they are supposed to be the leaders of the family, not the men.
Right. And see, you know, and I don't want to say, you know, I don't hate our sisters or anything like that. But what I'm saying is when it comes to things like marriage, we're going to have to start looking to the Bible isn't a bad idea. And I'll tell you why. So in the Bible, there was Abraham, and he was kind of concerned when he was trying to look for a wife for his son, because when he was in the land of Canaan, he seen how the Canaanite people were. They were a very wicked people. You know, used to do human sacrifice and things like that. And he said, "Okay, don't. I'm not." He told his servant, "Don't get a wife for my son here. Go over there to, you know, in a culture that's not like this, and I have kin over there, and you can just get a wife from him over there." And
Okay, that's why that's what. Hence, that's why it's what it's yeah.
right. You know, I'm SYSBing myself. I understand it 100. But what I'm getting at is we need to focus on the economics, and the economics can be done, but what we have to focus on is how we go about it. You know, I'm a double major in finance and accounting. I'm about to graduate in December. I study interest rates. I do investment research. You know, one part I do disagree is that the dollar is going to crash. I don't see that happening. You know, with more inflation, the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates, which is going to decrease the money supply, which is going to make the dollar much more stronger in comparison to other currencies. So
We got, let me just stop here. We got Officer Chalkner, the goddamn law is in the house. Woo! Talk to us, brother.
Woo!
We talking about uncompromising black man, man. The black man who cannot be bought, man. Speak to us, brother.
Woo! How you doing, good doctor? I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
correct one of the brothers for saying the dollar's gonna crash. I said you don't want your dollar to crash. That's like
Yeah,
saying you
I tried. Yeah, yeah.
because
That's a
when your
disaster.
dollar crash, I want you to look at the movie Mad Max. You know, the Mel Gibson version. Do you really want that shit? Do you really want that shit? Especially if you got family and kids. Do you really want that shit? Because a lot of shit people be like, yeah, I can't wait to this. Nah, it's like saying I want my president to fail. No, you don't. He's not gonna feel the pinch. You will. Strategically, before we can even think about economics, we're gonna have to develop black man self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because wherever there's economics, there's liable to be greed.
Yep.
now, Mr.
And
Faulkner, I have a question.
yes, sir.
Wouldn't you say a better idea would be to separate ourselves from the heathen and just do our own thing?
Where are we gonna go?
What heathen?
We go. We don't go
Which one?
anywhere.
But let me put it to you this way: if that was such a great idea, why didn't we go to Libya?
I'm not necessarily saying Libya.
Liberia.
I'm not
I'm sorry,
necessarily.
Liberia.
I'm not
Yep.
necessarily saying we should like separate ourselves physically, but our own identity.
We have our
We
own
are
identity.
black people, but we're not. We don't act in the same manner as other black people.
That's what
We do.
BMI is.
It's just we do. It's just here's the point: we act like we got some goddamn common sense. That's
No,
the
but
difference.
what I'm saying is the black men that we identify with and we collect our amongst ourselves as an identity, and we work amongst ourselves.
Like, what black men are we separating from?
The matriarchal minded and the
The
Pookies
so-called
and
pookie.
Ray Rays.
I'm gonna stop you right there. You ever heard of this guy named Malik El Shabazz?
yes.
Was
Oh
he a
yeah.
pookie, Ray?
Yeah, 4 time yes.
So probably the Pookies of the Pookies and the Reyes of the Ray Rays, right?
Right.
Because if you alienate people without giving them a chance to change,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have a Malcolm X, would you?
I understand what you're saying, but we don't have time here, you know.
We don't have time for a lot of things,
And I
but at the
think,
same
and I
time,
think we're, I
when
think
you
we're not.
when you when you go through a separatist nation, let's take history for example. Look at Japan. Japan during its feudal era was very separatist, right? Very
Yeah,
isolationist,
they
right?
had all the daimyos and the shogunates. Yeah.
And what happened?
I mean, well, you had Oda Nobunaga, who pretty much unified all of Japan.
Yeah, but what happened?
I mean, they pretty much
Well,
fought each other.
because when they were isolationists, Britain came over and said, "Open up your ports for trade, or we'll bombard you."
No, that was after they came under one nation. You know.
Yeah, they were isolationists during that time.
Right. And then because they didn't want nothing impermeating their culture, because they pretty much, like, in their literature, they pretty much seen themselves as better than other people.
And what happened? They had to evolve because if they stayed that way, they would have pretty much stayed the same way they've been. But
But what I'm
now look what happened. Look what happened when they integrated technology. They have some of the best technology in the world,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I understand what you're saying, but my point is this: we need to separate ourselves from the heathen because we are better. We have much more money, we have much more knowledge and intellect, and we're much more resourceful. We have black men in various industries, across various
Why?
walks of life.
But I'm asking this one
Why
question:
can't it just
What's
start with
your
us? Why do we have to?
what's your religious belief?
I'm a Jew.
You're a Jew, right?
Yes, I observe the Tanakh.
You like in the Torah, did God, Yahweh, whatever you like to call him, did he pick the kings or did he pick the common folk?
He picked the common folk.
I want you to think about this. If the creator said the common folk are good with him, that he could mold and create, I think we need to actually start to do that ourselves because this is what happens, right? Black people get into this rut. And the rut is we pray for leaders instead of grooming them. You
Yep.
would have less Pookies and Ray Rays when brothers actually educate the young. Because
It's cool.
eventually, I'm pretty sure, one day Dr. Neil will like to be like, you know what, I want to give this to the young men to take over. Because when we isolate, you never know who you're isolating.
You never know. And the thing about it is that, so China. You talk about Japan. There's China. So China is America's. Uh, I would say, if not, the number one competitor, number two competitor, next to Russia. You know what I mean? And China had for a certain period of time an isolationist program, which it abandoned. Okay, and so China has risen and technologically, it's 5G and all that kind of stuff. They are knocking at our door. Okay, and so and China is a serious thing in the world right now. All right, China is all over Africa. Uh, China is moving into other parts of the world. Uh, Being an isolationist is not a practical strategy. Uh, Here on my page, my channel rather, I want black men, or this, I preach globalism. We need to we embrace globalization with all of its problems and difficulties or whatever, and with all of its benefits.
But my thing is this, Dr. Neil. Why can't we, as the progressive black men that we are, that we know ourselves to be, why can't we just start off by amongst ourselves? We see where the Jews in Israel got. We
Well,
can. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing here.
I
But
might can answer that.
got
And if BGS is still here because I can't see him on my screen, uh, the archetype for black men is not guys like Russell Wilson, Bob Johnson, Robert Smith. It's Future. That's the problem, and we've got to change that.
I have
We
to
That is
can't
say,
the
necessarily
problem.
change
I
it.
have to say this
What I
real quick.
say, and
I have to
my
say this real quick.
all right, no problem. Go ahead.
Is the Jews who went to Israel, they had the United States and Great Britain backing them to
Yep.
get to take over Palestine. See, we got to realize this. In order to even one think about isolation, you have to have military might.
And we
How
don't
many,
have it.
how
Not
many
no more.
battleships do we own? How many nukes? We gotta be very careful what we're saying because it sounds good on paper until you actually put it down and say fundamentally, how can we keep people from our resources?
And we don't
Because
have the troops anymore.
we never really did. And see, we
Agreed.
need to stop acting like this is not our system to infiltrate. You're already a part of it, so you technically don't even have to infiltrate. Like I've
Right,
said before, the Gray Faulkner Initiative, where does technology go first? The military. Why don't we
Yep.
push more black boys into the military? Get the
That's all.
benefit, get the training, get the money.
And the
Because hey,
discipline.
I would.
go to the police departments, go to the fire departments. Those are middle class jobs as soon as you sign the documentation. But yet we look down upon shit because one, we like to, I'm gonna just say it. Too many black people are in love and infatuated with struggle.
Yep.
Right, right,
Instead of being the answer, or as I say in my three things, the black community don't give a damn about black boys, education's being the hero of your own narrative. Be the hero. Oh, I don't like police brutality. And Negro, become the police. Huh? Yeah, that's what I got for years, huh? I said, yeah, how many boys are we pushing to say, you know what, let's do what the Chinese do? Yeah, we need 1 million police officers. But I don't want to be, we need 1 million police officers. How many times are we going to say, look, we need some engineers. We need 1 million engineers. If you really want to change, you're going to have to be a little what's the word, authoritarian for a little bit.
Hey, can I defer to? Can I interrupt you, Charles Faulkner? One brother officer to another. How many times have you probably heard black mama saying, "I don't want my baby joining the white man's army," but she's
Well,
got no problem with him joining the gang?
but I tell that same woman, that army was black before it was even white
Yes,
because the first
sir.
because the first person to kill and die for this country was black.
Just
So
for fanatics.
for her saying that, it shows the level of ignorance and while she's wallowing in obsolescence.
Yep.
Complain about the men, and I had to scold a lot of women. I said, how many of you women are raising boys you claim you wouldn't date?
Oh yeah. Oh, shit.
So
I'm about to throw this phone down. And say, "Help, hallelujah." Yep. Whole
because
bunch.
a lot of times people forget this when they talk about passport bros. Passport bros is not a new concept for men. Men always traveled to get wives. You were supposed to. That's how empires actually got flourished. Yeah, go take that chick over there for a wife. Yeah, she's part of the native culture. That's how you bring in infrastructure. You bring in ties back to the old country.
It's only
See
a
a lot,
problem when we do it.
and it's only a problem if you listen to a dumb motherfucker. Excuse my language, doc. But
Hey,
so
see, the problem is this: men need to act like they got a pair, grab their nuts, and actually walk like they're men. Stop being beheld to the wishes of women who don't give a damn about you. I had a chick on my channel one time tell me that we worship black men. I said, "Oh, really?" Then how do you treat black boys? Because every black man by default was a black boy, and only 10% of your boys, when they reach the eighth grade, can read on level. That's a crime against humanity.
hey, check this out. A couple of years ago, I was at a Walmart. I was walking inside, saw this white woman. She had her little son and her daughter. Son looked like he was significantly younger, and I guess his older sister did something to him. That white woman whirled around, grabbed the girl, and said, "Listen, he may be your younger brother, but you respect him as a boy. You are his older sister, not his mama." Now, I said, when I saw that, I said to myself, you know what? If that was a black family, three things would have happened. One, she either would not have said anything. Two, she would have jumped on the little boy for saying, "You shouldn't have done nothing to piss your older sister off." Three, she'd have jumped on the older sister for not being hard enough on the brother, on her little brother. That's what goes on here.
And that's the craziness about it is that think about it. Where's the black boy's rite of passage to say he's a man?
There is none,
See, too
unless he
long
goes to the military.
for too long we were allowing women to say this boy is a man because he can earn something. Think about it. They
Yep.
invest more in your athletic career than your academic because they thinking, oh, you owe mama a house. No, mama's husband, who does not exist, should have bought you a house. The son should not have the responsibilities of your husband.
Hey, how many times have we seen videos here on YouTube where the boy picked his school that he was going to go to, and it wasn't the school that his mama wanted him to go to?
Oh yeah, if you walk right off.
Yeah, I remember that video, and I said to myself, I hope that boy plays on Sunday, and when he signs that contract, he remembers mama and don't give her a damn dime.
Pretty much.
But he won't. He's gonna buy his mama a house, his daddy a car, his sister a dress.
And we are talking about all the forces that ultimately lead to a black man becoming awakened. You become awakened, and when you become awakened, you assess the situation that surrounds you and what have you, and you make a cost benefit analysis, and you decide, what you're going to do uh, to maximize, your own agency and what have you, and you make decisions um, where you deal with um, the relationships that you've had and whether you're going to abandon those relationships or maintain those relationships. And that's it. And the point is that we are at a place right now. Black men are abandoning. We're abandoning that there are relationships exploitive, gynocentric, not just gynocentric, but even beyond that, relationships that no longer benefit us. Okay, and we're not going to be shamed. We're not going to be cajoled into um, maintaining those relationships or in any way nurturing them in any kind of particular way. You know what I mean? And that's the part of being uncompromising and what drives us are principles. There's something that is much bigger. There's something greater that is at stake. You know what I mean? So I started this video talking about what's happening right now with our brother, um, who is out there, and I didn't call him out because y'all know who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And he is breaking those ties. He's breaking those relationships in this service, at least in my mind, of being a free black man. You know what I mean? And you deal with being unpopular. You deal with being seen as a pariah. You deal with being defamed and all these other things. You know what I mean? And so it's like You know, when we look at this election right now, 2022, you know, in the outcome, you know, I know what's going to happen, especially in Georgia. If Stacey Abrams loses, black men are going to be blamed. Um, you know, not the fact that she's just not a bad she's a bad candidate, but black men are going to be blamed for why she lost. You know what I mean? In the same way, you know, that black men were, blamed for Trump in 2016 and what have you, and black men were shamed for voting for Trump, you know, in 2022. You know what I mean? And
You
the
know, good
thing
doc.
is, yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna I'm gonna make the suggestion for black men, if you don't mind. Sometimes you gotta love being the villain.
Mhm.
We tried being a hero for so long. We need to embrace our inner villain. See,
Yes.
Dr. Doom once said that I never knew losses, I only know setbacks. And I think we need to embrace the fact that we're not going to be liked once we put our opinion and our thought process out there to the free world. I think we should not be shamed to say no. This is not what we agreed to. This is not what we signed on the dotted line. Hell no. We will not go. And I
Mhm.
think we need to embrace that, good doctor.
And that's what I'm promoting. That is exactly what I'm promoting. Because being the bad guy, being the villain, being the unpopular figure, and what have you, for the sake of something that is, you know, much larger, something that is bigger. Um, because we can no longer, you know, tolerate this situation, you know, that we're dealing with. So I've been up here for, you know, over 2.5 hours and what have you. Um, so if any of you guys have any other additional comments that y'all want to make, um, you know, to this topic, and I put, you know, it's from the Dark Knight. It's from the Dark Knight, and I play with it. I'm playing with this figure, the Joker, and what have you, and standing in front of, you know, all this money, millions and millions of dollars, um, that, you know, say something about whether or not this person is committed to money or committed to something that is much bigger than money or bigger than rewards. You know what I mean? And it's so, you know, in my mind, that's what we have to be as black men, is to reject those rewards, and reject whatever type of seductions that come our way that would tell us to continue the status quo, because I think we can't continue the status quo. And black men have to be willing to put stuff on the line, just to put stuff on the line, man. So I want you all, as we get ready to sign out, guys. I want you all to speak on that, man. Basically, being an uncompromising black man.
Well, one of the things, you know, I'm 23 years old. I'm probably the youngest person in here.
I'm happy. I'm glad, brother. I'm glad that you're here, man. I'm glad that you're here as a 23-year-old, that you are listening to us and everything, man. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I've actually been listening for some time because, you know, sometimes, you know, before I had the manosphere, I would just find myself lost in my own thoughts because it seems like as a black man, everybody wants to do the thinking for me, you know, and well, you know, me actually graduating, I'm about to graduate school in December, double major in
Congratulations.
finance and accounting, and
It's awesome. It's awesome.
trying to pursue a career in taxes. Um, you know, everybody wants me to do what they want to do, but I'm gonna do what I want to do at the end of the day, and because I have my own plan. Because my dad always told me, you know, a genius without a plan can be beaten by an idiot with one. So, you know, I like to have a plan and I know where I'm going. So that's why I'm able to block out the noise. Now, as far as politics, you know, I don't really think there's much benefit in it for black men, except on the lines of economics, because I think we're all educated enough to know that neither party has our social interests. So if social politics are out of the window and we know that's not effective, I think the next best thing is economic power. Um, I'm big on that, and I want but more black men to get into more STEM so that we can you know build amongst ourselves and network amongst each other. More black lawyers, more black doctors, things of that sort. Also, I just want to leave you all, with Hannibal's quote: "I will find a way, or I'll create one myself." Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Good to have you here. Chemical, JDZ. Last words.
Yeah, my last words for this conversation is we have to stand on being uncompromised. Like that's that's what it is. Like there's two different type of black men in America right now. It's the compromised and the uncompromised. And we just gotta stand on what we are, who we are, and stand up for our brothers who are doing the same thing. Because if I jump out there and I be uncompromising and then somebody else compromises, then it's like I did all this for nothing. So what I would say is since our brothers got the ball rolling and showing, he got some balls, you know, I believe we should the rest of the brothers who are uncompromising should align with this movement of being uncompromising and not worry about losing a job, losing the bag, losing this, losing that, because they can take whatever they want from us anytime they want to, and they can give us whatever we want anytime they want to. And with us having that over our heads, that's what make us be compromised in the first place, because you want to keep what you got, and you feel that you'll lose that if you speak up about something that needs to be spoken on with a person who has a platform who can actually reach people. So my last words is we have to back our brothers and keep it moving with this uncompromising black man. That's what we need to do. BMI, BMA.
That's it. That's it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother, for joining us tonight. Charles Faulkner, the officer of the goddamn law.
Woo! Always a pleasure, good doc.
Always good to have you, man, in the house, man. I appreciate you, man. You my brother.
Gotta get you over to my channel sometime.
Yes, sir.
I,
You know I'm coming over.
I'm gonna have to say this for a lot of people. One, we're gonna have to get the training, the education, the knowledge. But most of all, we're gonna need the wisdom. Don't be afraid of things that are unknown. That's when you earn your stripes. That's when you get your bars. That's how you get your rank. Be the uncompromising. Be unapologetically black man. See, if you truly want to be the leader, sometimes you're going to make the most unpopular decision. Why? Because you're thinking in the totality of your group. And when black men make decisions, usually and most likely, the group actually benefits
There you
greatly.
go. There you go.
Stop being afraid.
There you go. There you go.
I
And
don't
wait.
care what holy text you read. It said, "Fear not."
Mhm.
What does it say? Though I walk through the shadow of the valley of the death, I should do what?
Fear no evil. That's it.
Say it with your chest out, Doc.
Fear no evil, brothers. Fear
There
no
you
evil.
go. And guess what? The greatest evil has been plaguing black men and especially black boys of the mistreatment, the miseducation, and the outright disdain, hatred, and disrespect of it. You need to sometimes suit up. For the longest time, my uniforms, had a gun and a badge, had BDUs. The young brother, hey, I would tell him, Go to finance in the military for about 4 years. Stack up your money and get your experience and get that resume built.
There you go.
Sometimes you need that encouragement. Sometimes you got to realize this. We have no allies. We are all we got.
All we got.
We are all we got. And I'm going to end it with another saying that I trademarked. My brother, my champion, my savior. Woo! Always a pleasure.
Woo! Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, man. Good to always have you, man. I'm gonna show up on your. You know, I come to your channel. I watch your stuff, man. So you know, I'm gonna
Oh,
be in
yeah. We love it. We
there.
love it.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Yeah, and brothers, that's it. Be uncompromising. In your position, in your stance. We are fighting for larger. We are fighting for greater principles, man, and we can't be bought. That's the thing. That we can't be bought. Be that black man who cannot be bought. I want to give a shout out to my brother Abuki Kamal. I want to give a shout out to my brother. That's the wrong one. My brother Abuki Kamal. Thank you, my brother. Abuki Kamal is the brother who's responsible for my avatar. If y'all don't know that, y'all know it now. You see this avatar right here? You see this picture? Y'all see my avatar right here in my face. Abuki Kamal is the man who created this. That's my brother right now. I appreciate my brother. And we got to talk. Abuki, we're going to talk. I'm going to send you an email, man, and we're going to do some more stuff together, man. But yes, guys, this is the purpose of this stream tonight. There's something much bigger that is at stake that we have to deal with and what have you. Be able to look at all the incentives that are put in front of you to keep the status quo alive. Look at it. That there are so many incentives that are placed in front of us to keep this thing the way it is without any change and what have you. And I want to say to all you guys, what you need to do is when they put that stuff in front of you, when they put those so-called rewards in front of you, I want you to take out a match, get you some gasoline, and you just throw the gasoline on those incentives and light that match and throw that match on top of of all that stuff that they try to put in front of you and watch all of it burn. That's what I want black men to do. This is what it means to be uncompromising. This is what it means to be independent as a black man, to express black men's agency, to express black men's empowerment, to express black men's happiness. I thank all of you guys who are here tonight on the stream. At the eve of this very, very important election, and in this season, in this moment where we are transitioning, black men are transitioning, black men are shifting, in the world, America first in particular, America first is going to feel this shift that black men are undertaking right now, and by extension, the world is going to see it. And I agree with I agree with Charles Faulkner that as we move in a different direction, guess what? Everybody is going to follow. Everybody's going to say, you know what? These black men are doing something different. These black men see something that we don't see, and these black men are winners, and we want to be on the side of the winners and what have you. And they're gonna fall. They're gonna, as Tiffany Cross said, that black men need to fall in line. No, 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 no. Everybody else got to fall in line with the way in which we are moving and shifting in a completely different direction. So, thank you guys for tuning in on this evening. I appreciate your support and what have you. Um, and share, like, and subscribe. I am the Mad Professor. This has been another broadcast, another Black Men's Independence, another Black Men's Agency, another Black Men's Empowerment, and a Black Men's Happiness presentation. We are all SYSBM up in this place. Save yourself, Black man, and I will see you guys on the next stream. Yes, sir. Charles Faulkner, my brother, my champion, my savior. My brother, my champion, my savior. My brother, my champion, my savior. This is our mantra, and I am signing out. You all take care. I will see you all on the next live stream. Take care. Peace out. Have a good night. Good morning, rather.